Hello, I am Manya Ruffin-Nash, a program officer at the National Science Foundation. I will be joined today by my colleague Paige Smith. We are members of the NSF Includes implementation team. Welcome to this NSF Includes informational webinar. We will be discussing the current NSF Includes Planning Grant Solicitation, NSF 19-600. This webinar has been pre-recorded and is available on the NSF Includes page on the NSF website. We will hold live question and answer sessions. For the dates and times as well as the links to access the sessions, please visit the NSF Includes National Network website, includesnetwork.org, or the NSF Includes Planning Grant Solicitation website, which is accessible on www.nsf.gov, or email us at nsfincludes@nsf.gov. Please be sure to note any questions you may have as you listen to this webinar, and plan to join us for one of the live question and answer sessions. You may also submit questions at any time via our email to nsfincludes@nsf.gov. Here are the topics we will cover in this webinar. We will begin with an introduction to NSF Includes and its growing national network. We will then focus on the NSF Includes Planning Grant Solicitation, NSF 19-600. We will provide detailed information about this funding opportunity, as well as guidance on preparing a strong competitive proposal for submission. Finally, we will provide a list of useful resources. So let's begin with an introduction to NSF Includes and its growing national network. NSF Includes is a comprehensive national initiative designed to enhance U.S. leadership in discoveries and innovations by focusing on diversity, inclusion, and broadening participation in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, at scale. The vision of NSF Includes is to catalyze the STEM enterprise to work collaboratively for inclusive change, resulting in a STEM workforce that reflects the population of the nation. NSF Includes is transforming the STEM enterprise at all levels in order to fully engage the nation's talent for the ultimate improvement of the STEM enterprise and the enhancement of U.S. leadership and innovation capacity. The two primary tenets of NSF Includes are 1. Broadening participation in STEM, and 2. Collaborative infrastructure. NSF Includes is especially interested in broadening participation for those groups traditionally underrepresented in STEM fields: women and girls, persons with disabilities, people from underrepresented groups such as African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, Native Alaskans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, and also persons from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. By collaborative change, we mean the process by which organizations and institutions come together with a shared goal or vision, where they map out mutually reinforcing activities. They develop goals, objectives, and measures to map their progress. They engage in constant communication and advance the potential for expansion and scaling that would not be possible otherwise. The NSF Includes National Network Collaborative infrastructure is designed to foster collaboration by enhancing 5 design elements: shared vision, partnerships, goals and metrics, leadership and communication, and expansion, sustainability, and scale. Every NSF Includes project and the NSF Includes National Network engages a broad community in a shared vision of importance and power of diversity for scientific innovation. Partnerships and networks are at the heart of the NSF Includes National Network, and through the Coordination Hub, alliances, design and development launch pilots, conferences, and other NSF Includes funded projects, we provide a platform for partnerships and collaborative action. Partnerships and networks will run on shared goals and metrics that allow for robust data that facilitate evidence-based decision-making. NSF Includes is also designed to build capacity for leadership and communication among organizations and individuals to create opportunities in STEM education and careers. Finally, collaborative infrastructure should lead to more partners joining the movement, more connections being made, and a chance for collaborative change to lead to expansion, sustainability, and scale. Building the NSF Includes National Network began in fiscal year 2016 with NSF funding opportunities for design and development launch pilots, or DDLPs, which are represented in this figure by the green hexagons. Design and development launch pilots are projects that are meant to lay the foundation for larger scale partnerships by planning and experimenting with collaborative infrastructure building, using collaborative change strategies such as collective impact or networked improvement communities to address broadening participation challenges. In that would be fiscal year 2016, 40 launch pilots were funded. In addition, 13 conferences were funded to introduce a wide range of ideas and content aimed at building the capacity for implementing innovative collaboration and broadening participation activities. The conferences are represented in the figure by the orange hexagons. In FY 2017, we continued to fund design and development launch pilots and ultimately funded a total of 70 design and development launch pilot projects in fiscal years 2016 and 2017. A full list of the design and development launch pilots can be found on the NSF Includes website in the report to the nation. In FY 18, NSF continued to expand the national network by funding conferences, along with eagers and supplements, which are represented by the orange hexagons on the figure. In fiscal year 2018, it represented a major milestone in NSF Includes. We funded the first cohort of 5 NSF Includes alliances, which are represented by the purple hexagons on this figure. Collectively, the set of NSF Includes alliances are to participate in a network of peer alliances to achieve the long-term goals of NSF Includes. Collaborate with the NSF Includes Coordination Hub to build critical knowledge that shows measurable progress toward long-term goals. And work to build on-ramps for other organizations and broadening participation stakeholders to join in and expand the NSF Includes National Network. In FY 2018, We also funded the NSF INCLUDES Coordination Hub, represented here by the gray hexagon. This is the backbone or support organization for the entire NSF INCLUDES national network. The NSF INCLUDES Coordination Hub facilitates the activities needed to build and maintain a strong NSF INCLUDES national network, including communications, technical assistance, and efforts aimed at increasing visibility. The hub coordinates the interoperability and alignment of activities within the network. The hub is also helping to foster the overarching vision and strategy. The hub itself is a collaboration of multiple organizations and institutions with SRI International taking the lead. In fiscal year 19, NSF INCLUDES continued to expand its national network through Dear Colleague Letter, or DCL, NSF 19-038, called Supporting the Reentry of Women and Women Veterans in the STEM Workforce. Through NSF INCLUDES, 2 conferences were funded along with 6 traineeship supplements to support 12 individuals, including 2 veterans, seeking to re-enter or enter the STEM workforce after a career break. These conferences and supplements were partially funded by a $1 million gift from the Boeing Company. We had a second DCL, NSF 19-042, to expand the NSF INCLUDES national network through supplemental funding. This resulted in 10 supplements being awarded to NSF INCLUDES design and development launch pilots and other active NSF awards outside the national network seeking to connect with NSF INCLUDES. We also had the second NSF INCLUDES Alliances competition, which resulted in 3 new alliances. This map shows the NSF INCLUDES national network across the United States. The lead institutions of the design and development launch pilots are marked in green. The lead organizations for alliances are represented by the slightly larger purple hexagons. NSF INCLUDES funded activities such as conferences, eagers, supplements, are all represented by orange hexagons. The Coordination Hub, which is not shown on this figure, serves as the connector between all of the components of our national network. Now, I will turn over the presentation to my colleague, Paige Smith, to discuss the planning grant solicitation in more detail.
Thank you, Manya. Now let's focus our attention to this special funding opportunity, NSF INCLUDES Planning Grant Solicitation, NSF 19-600. NSF INCLUDES planning grants are designed to facilitate and support the development of partnerships and networks by building capacity for collaborative infrastructure that might lead to the establishment of future centers, alliances, or other large-scale networks to address a broadening participation challenge. Through planning grants, NSF supports teams in building capacity and creating the collaborative infrastructure needed to address a broadening participation challenge in STEM. Planning grants can be used to organize catalytic activities necessary to help crystallize the broadening participation vision and to focus on developing one or more of the 5 NSF INCLUDES design elements of collaborative infrastructure, support team formation activities for example, filling gaps in expertise, develop and support relationships with potential partners, and access specialized frameworks or resources needed to support planning efforts. Each proposal must explain how the planning grant funding will be used to plan for developing the infrastructure necessary to foster collaboration and achieve impact by emphasizing one or more of the 5 NSF Includes design elements. Keep in mind that funding for planning grants may not be used to create or implement interventions. Planning grant proposals focused on the creation or implementation of an intervention will not be recommended for funding. Prior NSF Includes funding is not required to be eligible to submit a proposal for an NSF Includes planning grant. NSF Includes Design and Development Launch Pilots are especially encouraged to apply, as a planning grant could serve as an intermediate conduit for bringing their exploratory pilot work to scale. Having an NSF Includes planning grant is not a prerequisite for eligibility in a future NSF Includes competition. There is a limitation on PI and co-PI eligibility. Current NSF Includes Alliance PI and co-PIs are not eligible to serve as a PI or co-PI on an NSF Includes planning grant. An individual may be listed as a PI or co-PI on only one NSF Includes planning grant proposal. There are no restrictions or limits on the number of proposals per organization. And finally, if the proposal is for a multi-organization NSF Includes planning grant, the proposal must be submitted as a single integrated proposal by the lead organization with proposed subawards to the partner organizations. Separate proposals from each partner will not be accepted. In terms of the award information, the anticipated type of award is a standard grant, and the estimated number of awards is 20 to 30. The NSF Includes planning grant is for 12 to 16 months in duration, and the proposed budget for each planning grant must not exceed $100,000. The anticipated funding amount is between $1 million to $3 million, subject, of course, to the quality of proposals received and the availability of funds. Now let's discuss the proposal preparation and submission instructions. NSF Includes planning grant proposals must contain the components listed on this slide and should strictly adhere to the specified page limitations. Planning grant proposals that are not compliant with these guidelines will be returned without review. Figures and tables must be included within the applicable page limit as described. Also, please note that unless required by the NSF Proposal and Award Policies and Procedures Guide, or the PAPPG, no other information, links to web pages, appendices, or supplementary documents are permitted. The PAPPG is a very important guide for submitting a proposal to NSF, and it should be read, and you should become very well versed in it. Now, let's cover each proposal component in more detail. The title of the proposed project should begin with NSF Includes Planning Grant, followed by the rest of your title. The project summary is a one-page document that must be prepared in accordance with the guidance in the PAPPG and should individually address the project's intellectual merit and broader impacts with the following supplemental guidance. The overview section should include the broadening participation challenge to be addressed. The project description is the heart of the proposal. It is the longest section of the proposal and where you will provide a detailed narrative of your proposed efforts. The project description is limited to a maximum of 6 pages total. It must include 2 separate sections labeled Intellectual Merit and Broader Impacts, as required by the PAPPG. Failure to comply with this maximum page limit or the separate section headings, for example, Intellectual Merit and Broader Impacts, will result in a return without review. In addition to the sections on intellectual merit and broader impact, the proposal description must contain 5 additional sections: the proposing team, a rationale, collaborative infrastructure, anticipated outcomes, and the NSF Includes National Network. In the proposing team section, the description must start with a table that has 4 columns, and the headings on the columns should include the names of the PI and/or co-PIs, the organizations of each individual, their titles, and their most relevant fields of expertise. This table should have approximately 5 rows, 1 for the PI and 1 for up to 4 co-PIs. The Planning Grant Rationale section must make the case for why a planning grant to support the intended partnership or network is appropriate, and why a collaborative infrastructure based on the 5 NSF Includes design elements is needed to address the broadening participation challenge. Identify key enabling ideas. Describe the intellectual approach and qualifications for carrying out the proposed strategies. The section on collaborative infrastructure should provide a detailed narrative articulating how the planning grant will help your team to address one or more of the 5 NSF Includes design elements of collaborative infrastructure. We will provide more information on addressing these 5 elements of collaborative infrastructure in your proposal in the next couple of slides. But before we do that, we're also going to provide more information on the anticipated outcomes and the NSF Includes National Network sections. That will also follow later in this webinar. For now, we will say that the section on anticipated outcomes should describe the overall expected impacts, including impacts from the collaborative infrastructure focus. Finally, the last section of the project description involves a description of how the proposed work will connect to and contribute to the NSF Includes National Network. Now, Manya will walk us through the section on collaborative infrastructure.
Thanks, Paige. Now, let's take a closer look at the 5 elements of collaborative infrastructure. As mentioned previously, the collaborative infrastructure section must clearly state and define how the planning grant will be used to develop one or more of the 5 NSF Includes design elements of collaborative infrastructure, including possible dates, locations, participants, objectives, and outcomes of proposed planning, meetings, and other relevant information. The shared vision for all NSF Includes projects identify a broadening participation challenge or challenges and a vision for affecting change. If the planning grant is to focus on developing a shared vision, proposers must include a description of how the planning grant would help to solidify a common agenda that reflects a collective understanding of the broadening participation challenge and links to existing research, promising practices, and/or to the previous and ongoing activities of the partners. Develop an integrated and coordinated strategic plan to address the broadening participation challenge or challenges, including technical infrastructure, which facilitates collaborative activities and the accomplishment and implementation of a set of specific activities and targeted outcomes, and define a rigorous and innovative research agenda that contributes to the knowledge base about broadening participation challenges in STEM. Partnerships. NSF includes projects with large-scale partnerships and networks consist of a set of primary organizations, additional partners, and an independent backbone or support organization to support the collaboration. If the planning grant is to focus on developing partnerships, proposers must include a description of how the planning grant would help to solidify the set of partners that plan to participate in the collaboration and build the relationships required for a long-term commitment. Develop a management plan that includes an organizational structure, administrative infrastructure, and backbone or support organization that will help coordinate activities. Integrate into the overall strategic plan the notion of the backbone or support organization's functions as a separate, objective organization that facilitates the collaboration, communication, and data collection among the partners. And finally, plan for how the intended collaboration could contribute to the success of the NSF Includes National Network and work with the NSF Includes Coordination Hub. Goals and metrics. For NSF Includes projects with large-scale partnerships and networks, they must have relevant goals and measurable objectives and use their backbone or support organization to collect and coordinate data on outcomes from partners. If the planning grant is to focus on developing goals and metrics, proposers must include a description of how the planning grant would help to define the intended goals, mutually reinforcing activities, and measurable objectives, outcomes, and progress indicators. Agree upon ways to measure and report progress, including the involvement of a backbone or support organization and of an external evaluator. Define what success looks like and evidence for its accomplishment. Begin to develop an evaluation plan, including benchmarks, indicators, logic models, roadmaps, milestones, or other evaluative methods to document progress towards goals, objectives, and outcomes for the large-scale collaboration as a whole, as well as for each of the partners. And determine a process to develop appropriate ways to collect and analyze data from multiple sites and multiple projects, including the use of technology and the backbone or support organization for data and information sharing. Leadership and communication. Leadership and communication for NSF includes projects with large-scale partnerships and networks require internal and external communication plans and have plans to develop capacity for leadership within and among all partnering organizations. If the planning grant is to focus on developing leadership and communication, partner proposals must include a description of how the planning grant would help to develop a strategy and build the expertise among proposed partners for engaging in collaborative change management. Develop a strategy for engaging organizations in a large network, including a strategy to promote leadership development across the partners. Develop a communication plan to support the internal operations of the partners. And develop a communication plan to share results of research findings in innovative and effective ways with the broader community. And finally, expansion, sustainability, and scale. NSF includes projects with large-scale partnerships and networks have a plan that will lead to expansion, sustainability, and scale of their activities. If the planning grant is to focus on developing the potential for expansion, sustainability, and scale, proposers must include a description of how the planning grant would help to enable the partners to plan for the long-term sustainment of their efforts, develop a strategy to create an ecosystem for sustainable change, and finally, develop a plan for advancing the expansion and scale. And now we'll turn to Paige to talk about two additional aspects of the project description that are required in the proposal: anticipated impacts and connecting with the NSF Includes National Network.
Thank you, Manya. Under anticipated impacts, proposers are being asked to address what aspects of the proposed approach would be most likely to change as a result of the activities described in the planning grant proposal. Where do proposers see the planning grant having the most impact? And what are the anticipated impacts of the activities listed in the section on collaborative infrastructure that Manya just described? For the section on the NSF Includes National Network, proposers are asked to describe how the planning grant will connect and contribute to the NSF Includes National Network. Proposers might consider how to leverage the national network to support current and potential partnerships, build capacity, and share resources. Keep in mind that all NSF proposals are evaluated through two merit review criteria: intellectual merit and broader impact. The intellectual merit of a proposal is its potential to advance the knowledge base in a subject area. The broader impacts of a proposal is its potential to benefit society and contribute to the achievement of specific desired societal outcomes. Please make sure your planning grant proposal narrative addresses both the intellectual merit and the broader impacts of your idea in both the project summary and the project description. You may also want to read more about the 5 elements that are considered in the merit review process under both intellectual merit and broader impacts, which are outlined in the PAPPG. In addition to the standard NSF intellectual merit and broader impacts criteria, reviewers for the planning grant proposal submissions will be asked if the proposal addresses the following additional solicitation-specific review criteria in a compelling, sufficient, and meaningful way. First, why is the formation of this large-scale partnership or network needed to address the team's vision for addressing a broadening participation challenge? Second, why are the proposed strategies appropriate for developing the collaborative infrastructure for this intended collaboration? Third, how well defined are the proposed strategies for addressing the development of one or more of the 5 design elements for collaborative infrastructure which we described earlier in today's webinar? Are these strategies appropriate? And if not, why not? And fourth, what will change and/or improve as a result of the proposed planning grant activities? In addition to the project description that we have just described, these items are also required in your proposal submission. A reference cited section. This is a maximum of 3 pages. Please refer to the PAPPG for formatting guidelines. Also needed are biographical sketches with a 2-page limit for each sketch. Again, the PAPPG has guidelines, and a biographical sketch should be included for the PI and up to 4 co-PIs responsible for managing the planning grant. There is a section for a budget and a budget justification, and the budget justification should explain how the budget allocation supports the overall goals of the planning grant. Reviewers will closely examine all allowable expenses such as salary and wages, materials and supplies, travel, and participant support costs for the planned workshops and meetings or other activities. Proposal budgets should include travel funds to support one PI or co-PI to attend up to 2 NSF-sponsored meetings in the Washington, D.C. area. Funds are not allowed for student support or to implement intervention programs. The planning grant duration is for a minimum of 12 months and a maximum of 16 months, and the maximum budget for each planning grant is $100,000. Each proposal must also include a data management plan. The data management plan is no more than 2 pages and is a supplementary document that describes how the proposal will conform to NSF policy on the dissemination and sharing of project results, also described in the PAPPG. And finally, letters of collaboration. Proposals must include letters of collaboration from major collaborating organizations that are involved in the planning grant. Here are some general considerations as you prepare your planning grant proposal. Consider new, diverse, and multidisciplinary, multi-institutional, and organizational partnerships, principal investigators, and contexts. Innovative planning grant proposals are particularly encouraged. Keep in mind that proposals that are submitted after the deadline will not be accepted. Please do not wait until the day the proposal is due to submit it, as technical issues may delay or prevent your submission from reaching us on time. Late submissions will be returned without review. And now I will turn it back over to Manya, who has some concluding remarks and reminders on the planning grants.
Okay, thank you, Paige. So let's talk about proposal submissions. So in terms of submitting your proposal to NSF, please refer to the PAPPG Chapter 2, C2 for guidance on the required sections of a full proposal submitted to NSF. Please note that the solicitation, however, takes precedence and may deviate from the PAPPG. So be sure to refer to the solicitation as well. There are 3 mechanisms for proposal submissions: fastlane.gov, research.gov, or grants.gov. Proposers should select one of the 3 mechanisms to submit their proposal. All proposals submitted in response to this program solicitation should be prepared and submitted, again, as a reminder, in accordance to the PAPPG. For grants.gov, there is an NSF grants.gov application guide available on grants.gov on their website and on the NSF website. Also, keep in mind that there may be a 24-hour to 48-hour delay in NSF receiving proposals that are submitted through research.gov and or grants.gov. Planning grant proposal budgets and the proposal deadline. For planning grant proposal budgets, know that they can vary, but should not exceed $100,000 for up to 12 to 16 months in duration. The size and scope of the effort should dictate the overall budget size. We do ask that you use the required budget format for NSF proposals, which is described again in the PAPPG. The deadline for the submission of planning grant proposals is December 3rd, 2019. We also have another deadline for submissions, and that deadline is July 13th, 2020. Finally, again, as a reminder, if a multi-organization NSF Includes planning grant is planning to submit to us, the proposal must be submitted as a single integrated proposal by the lead organization with proposed subawards to the partner organizations. Separate proposals from each partner will not be accepted. Here are some resources for you in preparing your proposal. Useful resources. Here are some useful resources for you in preparing your proposal. The solicitation. Please read it carefully. It provides you with the best information about what NSF Includes is looking for in planning grant proposals. The NSF Includes has a website with more information about NSF Includes, including an introductory video from the NSF Director. As previously mentioned, you can also access the Proposal and Award Policies and Procedures Guide, PAPPG, which can provide you with information including formatting and allowable cost, among other things. In addition, both FastLane and grants.gov have information pages. They also have support desks and toll-free helplines. These resources can provide access to the experts who know the systems inside and out and can help you with any technical issues you might have. If your organization has never had an NSF grant in the past, or if you have not had an NSF grant in the last 5 years, please be sure to use this link to access our prospective new awardee guide to find out what kind of documentation you will need and what the process will be should your proposal be recommended for an award. Finally, should you have any questions, please contact us via nsfincludes@nsf.gov. We will strive to answer all questions as quickly as possible. Thank you for listening to this webinar on the NSF Includes Planning Grant Solicitation, NSF 19-600. Remember, we will hold 2 live question and answer sessions. For information on the dates and times for the question and answer sessions, again, please visit the NSF Includes Planning Grant Solicitation website, which can be accessed on www.nsf.gov, or you can find the information posted on the NSF Includes National Network Coordination Hub's website, includesnetwork.org. Finally, you can email us at nsfincludes@nsf.gov. Thank you again, and we look forward to receiving your proposals by the deadlines denoted on the solicitation. Thank you.